Have you ever wondered what would happen if a pregnant woman walked into a biker bar? A place full of tough, tattooed men known for their rough, rowdy ways? It's hard to imagine, right? I mean, we're talking about a biker bar. The kind of place where people come together after a long ride, where the sound of roaring engines fills the air, where the music is loud, and where the walls are covered with stories of rebellion, freedom, and a rugged lifestyle. Most people would think it's the last place you'd want to walk into if you're in a delicate situation. But that's exactly what happened. This wasn't just any woman. She wasn't simply another stranger walking into a bar. No, she had a story, a powerful, heartbreaking story. And when she stepped through that door, it wasn't just about her. Her entrance would trigger a series of events that no one, especially the bikers, could ever have predicted. Imagine the scene. A woman, pregnant, vulnerable, and carrying the weight of a world full of problems, walks into a biker bar. Now, this is not some cozy cafe or family restaurant where you might expect someone to ask for help. This is a biker bar, the kind of place where bikers in leather jackets gather, where tattoos tell stories of a life lived on the edge, where conversations are rough, and where the idea of vulnerability isn't exactly welcomed. The moment she steps inside, she's instantly out of place. And yet, that's exactly what happened. A pregnant woman with nothing but the courage in her heart walked straight into a bar full of rough men. She didn't hesitate. She didn't try to hide. She walked in with purpose. But what could possibly have made her think that this was the place to seek refuge? What happened next? Well, that's where the story takes a dramatic turn. The bikers, who are usually tough and hardened by years of living life on their own terms, had no idea what was about to hit them. You see, what followed wasn't what anyone would have expected. In fact, it was so shocking, it changed everything. It showed the world that sometimes the most unlikely of people are the ones who show up for you when you need them the most. This woman's story wasn't just about her. No, it was about the power of human connection, the capacity for kindness in the unlikeliest of places, and how the walls we build around ourselves often hide the most compassionate sides of who we are. But before I dive deeper into the story, let's pause for a moment. Think about it. You're sitting in that biker bar, having a drink, chatting with friends. Then, suddenly, a pregnant woman walks in, clearly distressed, clearly in need. How would you react? Would you dismiss her, thinking she doesn't belong? Would you give her a hard time, or would you stop, listen, and see what's going on? That's exactly what the bikers were faced with that day. And trust me when I tell you, the way they reacted, what they chose to do next, will completely change how you see people who might not fit into the usual molds we expect. The response they gave her wasn't just about offering help. It was about recognizing the human being in front of them, seeing beyond the tough exterior they had worked so hard to build, and realizing that sometimes the best thing you can do is to step outside your comfort zone and show kindness to someone who needs it. So, what did she ask for? And why did she choose that biker bar? Was it a desperate move? Or did she know something about these bikers that no one else did? To understand that, you need to hear her story. But more importantly, you need to see how the bikers responded to her. It's one thing for someone to ask for help, but it's a whole different thing to see how a community that's known for being rough around the edges comes together in ways no one could have imagined. Here's where it gets even more interesting. As the bikers listened to her, some of them didn't know what to think. There was a mix of confusion, suspicion, and even frustration. They weren't exactly used to dealing with situations like this. They weren't social workers or counselors. They weren't trained to handle emotional crises. They were used to the road, the bikes, and the freedom that came with living life on their own terms. So, when this pregnant woman came in and asked for help, they were faced with a tough decision. What was their first instinct? What did they think when she told them her story? Was she just another person in need? Or was there something more to her presence in that bar? The bikers could have easily dismissed her. They could have turned their backs. believing that the world was tough and that she would just have to figure things out on her own. After all, that's how they lived their lives. But instead, something changed. They didn't just ignore her. They didn't turn their backs on her. No, they did something that would forever change the way they saw themselves and the world around them. The bikers, people known for being tough, for living life on the edge, started to listen. They asked questions. They saw her as a person in need. They saw beyond her situation, beyond her pregnancy, and beyond the tough exterior they themselves had spent years building. They saw a fellow human being in distress, and that recognition sparked a series of decisions that would go far beyond just offering shelter or a meal. This moment, this simple act of listening, would snowball into something much bigger. Now, I know what you're thinking. Why would a group of bikers, who have always been about strength and resilience, decide to help a stranger in need? What was it that made them choose compassion over apathy, kindness over indifference? The answer isn't just one thing. It's a combination of things. Things like the raw humanity we all share, the universal need for connection, and the understanding that sometimes, just sometimes, the world needs us to show up for others in ways we never expected. The bikers in that bar weren't just there to drink and laugh. They were there because, in that moment, they had the chance to be part of something bigger than themselves. And what they did next will shock you. But before we dive into that, I want you to think about this. In the toughest moments of life, who do we turn to? Who are the people who show up for us when we need it the most? It's not always the ones we expect. And that's exactly the lesson that was about to unfold in that biker bar. But the story isn't just about the bikers or the woman. It's about what happens when we let go of the stereotypes, when we see beyond the surface, and when we allow ourselves to be vulnerable and human. It's about how a simple act of kindness can change the course of someone's life. And if you're still wondering what happened next, trust me, you won't want to miss it. The bikers, for all their tough exteriors, ended up doing something that will forever change how you think about the people around you. It's a story of redemption, compassion, and the unexpected power of kindness.